Hi there, ladies. I want to make sure that you can hear me. If you can hear me, okay, maybe just pop a chat in the, or yes in the chat. Make sure my sound is doing well. Good afternoon. I appreciate you guys hopping on. This is very last minute, and I'm excited to get on and get going with it. However, so that will be good. Mm. Yep, perfect. Nice to see you on, dear Deirdre. I hope your kids are doing okay. I feel so bad. I empathize with you. My kids are also in that realm quite often in the afternoon. So it's nice to have grandma's house is where they're at right now. Alrighty. Hi, Shelly. Good to see you on as well. I'm excited. This is going to be good. All right. Hopefully a couple more people are able to pop on. They're fighting over everything right now. Yeah, I feel more like a bouncer in a bar now, quite often than I do a mom, because the two boys. I totally feel you. I'm glad you were able to hop on anyhow. Alrighty, perfect. Okay. So essentially what I am doing today is yeah, like a referee. WWE, totally. Oh, that's funny. Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, essentially what I'm going to be doing today is I'm doing my signature. And so I'll be going through the steps of like, how do you get your family on board? What are some of the things you are going to be looking out for when it comes to taking part in healthier habits? And I know that you two, you guys who are on, are partway through your journey, which is amazing. And so I'm so excited to have everybody join. I will share my screen here right away, and we'll get going. Oh, I see Nicole hopped on now as well. It's exciting to see you, Nicole. I'm ready to get going. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and I will tell you guys more about myself as I go through the story. All right, here it is. And I am going to figure out how to pull up the chat, first of all, so I can actually see it. And then I can get this going so that you guys can see the full presentation. There we go. That's perfect. My mouse actually disappears when I have it in full share, and so then I have to go by feel and intuition. All right, so my name is Mandy Jeffley, and in addition to being a registered nurse, I am a licensed holistic nutrition practitioner and also a best-selling co-author, which I'm very proud of. And today I'll be talking about how to feel fan-freaking-tastic without giving up all the foods you love or having to kill yourself in the gym, which is never fun for anyone. So my goal is to show you the easiest way to improve how you feel while eating healthy and delicious meals so that you can have energy to enjoy the life that you're dreaming of. This is my specialty. I will share amazing secrets with you. All that I ask is that I can take the last 10 minutes of the talk to share an incredible offer with you. Does that sound fair? Go ahead and click a yes in the comments, and I will carry forward. So, is this you? Yep, perfect. I'm seeing yeses. That's awesome. Okay, so is this you? You want to eat healthier, but you're so sick of trying the next big diet just to end up right back where you started off. Or even worse, you don't even know where to start. I hear this a lot from my clients. I just don't even know where to start. There's so many conflicting, confusing things out there. You feel like you eat pretty healthy already, but you just don't have any energy. That's something that I also hear from my clients very often. Or else you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, and you're just plain feeling like crap. That's a place that I was in my own life, and what actually started my journey, because I felt like, okay, I am in my mid-20s, and there's got to be more than this. I'm not accepting the fact that I feel like this when I'm this young. So leading into my story, that's a picture of me and my husband and my oldest son. My oldest son is just a few months old there, I would say right around 4 months old. And in this picture, we are all smiling. However, our light was kind of gone at this point. My light was gone at this point. And my story really starts when my husband and we were having a conversation in our living room. At this point in my life, I took to crying very, very often. All right. I would have all of these bouts of just breaking out into tears, being upset and not really knowing why. And so it was after one of these times where I had been crying, I was upset, I was kind of putting myself back together before bed. And my husband, I remember him looking over at me while we were sitting there, and he just looked at me very blankly, and he said, "You know what? Like, you're not okay, and I know that we're not okay, and I feel like it's time that you need to get professional help." And this hit me like a brick wall. It smashed me. Because at that point in my life, I was really not used to asking for help, and I'll talk about that a little bit more as I carry on in my story. This was something though that my husband generally wasn't super outgoing or honest with me. He was very much a listener, not a talker, and so that's why it took me by such surprise. And I knew that he was right. I knew that I wasn't feeling well. I felt like I was broken, although I didn't really know what to do at this point. And so in my life, I was a new mom. With this comes a lot of exhaustion. I wasn't sleeping very well. I felt totally overwhelmed. And when we were sitting there in the living room, it was the last straw for him. So for him to tell the professional that I needed to get professional help, that was a scary moment for me, because I knew that in order for my family to stay together and in order for my marriage to continue to stay together, I needed to do something. Um, so leading up to this time in my life, during my pregnancy, I was working full time as a registered nurse. I didn't really feel like growing a human was a reason to slow down, if that makes any sense. I had this ego about me that I can do it. I can do everything. I can manage it. And so working full time shift work, I pretty much didn't sleep hardly at all. My sleep cycle was totally messed up leading into my pregnancy, throughout my pregnancy, and then of course after, when I had my baby, getting up throughout the night. I didn't manage stress very well either. I am one of those, not anymore. I was one of those people that would take stress and just ball it straight up and put it in the pit of my stomach and try not to deal with it, right? And just hope that it doesn't come back to haunt me later on. And like I had already mentioned, I never asked for help. As the nurse, as the daughter, as the person that I was in my life at that time, and then as the mom, I always felt as though I was the helper and not the helpee. And so I had a really tough time asking other people for help. I felt like I should be able to do it all on my own, and I really beat myself up about that. So this led to a perfect storm in my life. My labor and delivery process was very long. My son was born premature, and he was born sick as well. And so it really didn't set me up for success as a new mom. And this led me to a point where it didn't take very long to break me. And I, like I say, I got to this point where I just didn't know where to turn. So after my husband and I had that conversation in our living room, uh, I was like, okay, my marriage is really depending on me getting okay again. So I did what I'm supposed to do. This is a picture of my son. My baby was sick. We spent a lot of nights in the middle of the night having to take him to the hospital, because he would wake up in the middle of the night just gasping for air. There were a lot of things going on with his condition, and this really edged on my resilience as well. And so, like I say, after that conversation in the living room with my husband, I knew I had to do something. And so I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I reached out to my doctor and I made an appointment. And I said, look, I haven't been feeling quite myself. I feel like I'm not really recovering. I'm still really, really tired. Is there something that you can offer me? And my doctor looked at me and he said, look, I empathize with your situation. I hear a lot of moms in your situation. So I realize that you're struggling. I can offer you a prescription, and I feel like that might help you, although you will have to stop breastfeeding your son in order to start taking this prescription. And At that time, my son was still quite young. This is like he's only about 4 months old. We're told that it's best for our children to continue to breastfeed as long as we can. It's also very good for our hormone balance. And so I looked at him and I said, is there any other way? I feel like in my heart, this isn't the step I want to take right now. Is there anything prior to that? Is there any other way that you can direct me?" And he said, "I'm sorry. This is what I can offer you. If you don't want it right now, you can always come back later and see if you're ready for it." Uh, but essentially, I left that appointment with nothing. I felt like I left totally empty-handed. And so walking out of there, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew what I didn't want to do now, and I knew that I had to do something. And so this was then where I was in that situation. This is what started my journey, and this is what really started to propel me, because this is what opened my mind to an alternative. This was what got me thinking, you know what, maybe medicine, even though I'm from medicine and I understand medicine, maybe medicine isn't the only way. Maybe I do need to step into another realm here in order to sort this out the way that I feel most comfortable sorting this out. And so that was then, and this is now. I am very excited to report that with the support of my husband and with the conversation of, will you back me up in this? I was able to meander through what can often be a very confusing web of holistic, natural, and medical care in order to create health for myself. And in order to create health for my son, he is now free from diagnosis. And in order to create an energized family that is excited to be together and take on adventures together. And so I'm not necessarily saying that this is, uh, I'm not necessarily saying that it was easy for me. It was a lot of trial and error. However, after being through it, I now have the education and I have the ability to help you get from point A to point B because I know the way now, right? And so am very excited to now go into the shares, the secrets of what I experienced and how I got my family on board with you. Thanks, Nicole. That's awesome. Yeah, show me you're still with me. Pop some in the chat there. This was actually this weekend that we were. Or not this weekend, this was the summer. We went out hiking together as a family and were able to create that adventure for ourselves. So you're going to see a few more adventure pictures of my family because that's what we love to do. So yes, thank you so much. All right. So since that time, I have been on a mission to find true health, and I want to share what I have learned with you. Okay. I feel like this is information that everybody should know, and I feel like the medical system has kind of locked it down, and so I'm blowing it open for you. All right. So, question before I carry on: what are you tolerating right now? All right. When this question was first asked to me, I didn't really know what it meant. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm not tolerating anything right now. I'm just sitting in a room, and when I started thinking about it though, and as it started to be presented to me at this time in my life, when my husband and I had that conversation in our living room, and I realized that I needed to redirect, thinking back now, I was tolerating at that time being exhausted. Okay. I was tolerating being overwhelmed. I was tolerating brain fog. I was tolerating the fighting with my husband as a recurring instance, like more than a few times a week. This was happening very often, and I was tolerating being unhappy with my body. Okay, so in this sense, I want you to write down, what are you tolerating right now? And at the end of my presentation, I intend to change your life with 6 words. Okay, so write down, if you got a scrap piece of paper or notebook, or jot it down on your phone, what am I tolerating right now? And write it in the sense of right now I am tolerating X. Right now I am tolerating Y. Okay. All right. So I also like to lead in with this. Ask for help, not because you are weak, but because you remain strong. This is one of the first things that I had to learn as I started asking for help. It's not showing my weakness. It's showing the fact that I am in it for this journey to create a life where I'm not tolerating all of those things anymore. Okay. And that shows a lot of strength. It shows a lot of strength to take yourself on like that. So know that asking for help is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. All right. Okay. So this is me and my sister. What happened after that? How did I start to meander through this crazy web? Well, I thought, okay, I need some motivation. So I'm going to sign up for a race. I don't run. I hate it. I'm not good at it. I feel like I'm going to die and my heart is going to beat out of my chest when I run. That's the thing that I'm going to do to get healthy, right? And how often do we do this? We think, oh, okay, I want to get healthy. I'm going to go to the gym. And so I didn't realize how ironic this photo was until I was actually creating this presentation. And I look at my t-shirt and it says run or die, because that was literally the situation I was in. Run or die, or possibly run and die. I wasn't sure. I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for this because then I'll start practicing and I'll get healthier because I'll have to run so that I don't die on race day, right? And so I enlisted my sister because that's what I did at the time. I was like, I need somebody to run with me. And so this is how I started my journey. I was like, okay, going in a run, gonna get healthy. That one went okay. So I decided to go on another one because it was motivating. It was getting me active. So I recruited my sister-in-law, and she was very active, very fit. She does fitness training now. And so it was at this race shortly after that I was complaining about how sore my muscles are going to be. I'm not going to be able to sit down on the toilet for the next week. And I was talking to her and she's like, well, you need to eat properly so that your muscles aren't super sore, and then you need to stretch to help your body recover. It's very simple. At the time I didn't realize that what we put into our body actually serves our body and helps our cells create what they need to create. And so I wasn't feeding my body well. I was one of the ones that I thought that I was eating pretty healthy prior, and then not paying much attention to how the ingredients that I cook with had changed, right? So my body wasn't getting what it was needing. Plus it was so depleted that it was so empty. I had to fuel it back up again. All right. And so that got me really interested in nutrition. I was like, okay, let's see if I can't start cooking better for myself and my family and see if that makes a difference. So I got interested in that. And lo and behold, it started to work. I started to release some of the weight that I had been carrying since I had my son. I wasn't feeling like I was back in my true body and my true form yet, but I was getting there, and that was important. So I kept going, right? I kept taking part in the adventure, and I kept trying new things that made my soul come alive. And sooner or later, my energy did come back. I started learning how to surf, taking these adventures that I loved to take before. I went skydiving again, which made me feel really alive. Yoga was fantastic, hiking, getting out in nature. So eventually these things did start rolling for me. Right? I started to find what was working for me. And so it definitely was a combination of community. It was a combination of finding what activities I enjoyed, and also really becoming intrigued about what I was eating, how that was serving my body or not serving my body, right? Some of these different things that I could try and do to help enhance how I was sleeping and my energy level. So I found what works for me. And now I have been able to find what works for a number of other people as well. A number of people like you, clients are having very good experience with this. So once I started realizing that this was really working for me, and kind of comparing my experience with the experience of the people who were in the medical system, or the experience of the people who had been struggling illness for a long time from what I was seeing in the hospital, I was like, I need to get more curious about this. I need to learn more about this, because this nutrition thing seems to be working very quickly, and it seems to work a lot more long term than maybe the alternative, what I was seeing in the hospital. So I ended up getting an education about it. I started learning about it. I enhanced my degree, and I even got to meet Dr. Sears, America's pediatrician. And then I started teaching about it. I was like, more people need to know about this. How am I, like, I feel like I'm the only one who understands how nutrition affects our bodies. I need to help other people who have been in my situation. So I did. I started speaking. I started teaching. I started speaking on all sorts of mediums. And I was really starting to enjoy that process, because even reaching out to one person at a time, I get to help that one person at a time, right? And so carrying forward. Like I said at the beginning, I became a co-author. I was able to share my story. And then most recently became an instructor at the Canadian School for Natural Nutrition, because this is how passionate I am about helping people learn what food and nutrients do for our body. How's it going? There's my story. There's my path. I know the path now, and I can show you the way. So here we are. 3 things that you need to know. 3 things that you need to know right now. Number 1, getting your family on board is easier than you think. I promise you. You don't have to live in the gym. I have not set foot in a gym to this day. All right. And you will save time and money. I promise you. All right. So number 1, getting your family on board is easier than you think. All right. I'm not sure that my kids are going to eat it. That's something that I hear all the time. I don't know that my husband will like it. Have you had that venture out of your mouth before? Or I don't want to have to cook 2 different dinners every night, right? Because if my family's not eating it and I'm eating something different, that's not going to jive. Totally understand. I feel like this is something that is really demanded of a lot of diets. This is not something that uh, I set you up for. Okay, I'm not buying these treats for me. I'm buying them for the kids. How many times have you been in the grocery store and said, "Oh no, that's going in the cart for the kids. I'm going to give it to the kids," and then also later hid in the pantry while you're eating the treats that you buy for the kids. That's a thing sometimes too. All right. So what's the secret here? Well, honestly, kids are opportunists. Okay. These are photos that I captured when my son was a toddler, and he essentially ate the food that he could reach, right? When he got hungry, he ate the food that he could reach. So these bell peppers were on my tower garden. They were out in the open. And so then he would trek up there and grab a bell pepper and leave it actually hanging on the branch while he was eating it, which was interesting. And then the apples, I always wash my fruit and apples and wash it up and leave it within reach of my kids. So in the beginning, I got a lot of half-eaten apples in between. Now they know to eat the whole thing. So it's a little bit easier as they get older. It is interesting though to see that they don't always go for the treats that aren't so good for them, right? The kids will eat what you have on hand, because come right down to it, when they get hungry, they're going to eat. They're going to eat. They're opportunists. And so it's not so hard to get them on board with healthy things, especially when you make the healthy things easier. They know that they taste delicious because it's what they're eating. And sometimes, honestly, I don't even tell my kids that it's healthy. So this is a picture of my youngest son as well. And what I made was a sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, whole food-based ginger cookie with a little treat on top because it was Christmas. What he thought he was eating was a cookie with a little treat on top because it was Christmas, right? I didn't tell him that it was healthy because he doesn't even need to know that. It's a cookie, right? So these are some common ingredient swaps. Go ahead and feel free to grab a screenshot. This is an example of what I do for my clients and how I show them that you can still have the same outcome, um, and make it healthier by using higher quality ingredients, right? This is a huge tip. I feel like the food industry changed the food so gradually over the last even 10 to 20 years that we didn't even realize that what we were putting in our same recipes actually isn't good for us anymore. When it used to be full of nutrients, now it's empty. Right. So this is an example of what I do. I swap out the ingredients so that the product still tastes the same. It still tastes delicious. However, the ingredients that you use are more whole food, which provide you greater nutrient value and are more filling. They leave you with less cravings. And it's something that's very simple once you start to introduce these things to your pantry, right? You have them on hand. So instead of sugar, using applesauce or maple syrup or honey, or even just reducing the amount of sugar that you put in altogether by half or 3/4. Instead of flour, using alternatives. Of course, those flours are somewhat different textures. It may take a little bit of time to get used to what you're using. Although I have found a lot of these alternative flours work just as well as the previous. And instead of butter, using olive oil, coconut oil. A mashed banana or pumpkin is very high in nutrients. So there are those alternatives that you can use. All right. And my husband, getting the husband on board. This is one of the things that I hear a lot is I would love to eat healthier, although I don't think my husband would like it. He's kind of a steak and potatoes type of guy, right? I'm sure being from Alberta, most of us have heard that from somebody at one point in time or another. So how I got my husband on board is number one, I had that conversation with him of, and I told him, I was like, you know what, it doesn't feel right to me to go the path of medication right now. I feel like I will if it comes to that. Although, would you support me in finding another way? And I simply asked him, and he said, yes, of course, I will support you in finding another way. I absolutely will. And so, in finding my other way, I started to invite him in. I started to invite him into some of the things that I was doing. I invited him to the first race, he didn't come. I invited him to the second race, he didn't come. I invited him to the third race, he didn't come. By the fourth race, his whole family was racing with me. And I was like, you were ridiculous for not coming. And so I continued to invite him in until he started to realize that this journey is actually for him too. It makes him feel better too. He's enjoying life better too. He has more energy too, right? We're happier with each other now. And so it's a matter of continuing to invite in. And when he doesn't have that resistance anymore, we can create all sorts of adventures for ourselves. And so I'm happy to say that our marriage did not end. Although it was tested, we had a lot of healing to do. It did not end. We are in a very good place now. And so for our anniversary last year, it's an example of the adventures that we can take. We road tripped across BC and went and jumped off a bridge to celebrate our 10 years of marriage, because why wouldn't you, right? And so this is just an example of the adventures we create outdoors in the fresh air that challenge us to be active and challenge us to keep our bodies feeling well so that we can do these things together without thinking twice about them. All right. So you can definitely see the contrast. I don't know which side you are seeing. For me, it's on my left of me with my first son and me with my second son. This is only a 2-year gap. You can see the change. You can see the color, the change in my color, my expression, my body composition. You can see the difference in the babies and their health as well between these two pictures in just 2 years. Okay. So it can happen a lot quicker than you think. It's a matter of knowing the steps and not getting distracted by all the fluff, right? We continue to take adventures together as a family, and I'm very proud to say that I am not a sideline mom. I am a right in there mom taking the adventure with the kids. Sherry wanted to be that type of mom. She was finding that she was really sitting on the sidelines. She was having a rough time and really beating herself up. She was feeling overweight, exhausted, and feeling like she couldn't keep up to her family anymore. And she said within days of working with me, she felt happier, she felt healthier, she felt alive again. And she started releasing that weight right away. So she still continues. This was about a year ago that I was working with her, and she continues to be down over 25 pounds. And she said the huge added bonus was it was so easy to get my husband and kids on board as well. No complaints, just mommy, this is yummy, which I think is great. The food can be delicious and your kids are going to be on board. It's a matter of knowing how to do it, following those steps. Okay. So first thing you need to know is getting your family on board is easier than you think, because underneath it all, they sincerely just want you to be happy. They want you to be happy. And so I had that conversation with my husband and asked him if he would support me in this journey. And of course he is going to, of course, right? All right, second, you don't have to live in the gym. Oh, I hate the gym. I think I've been in the gym once. The gym is not my favorite place. And so although a lot of people feel like this is a very integral part of gaining health. And at some point it may be, like at some point that may be something that you enjoy and something that you want to step into. I'm not saying that's not, I'm saying it's not for me. I'm not saying it's not for everybody. However, a common path to healthy living that people follow is when they want to gain health, they want to get fit. Number one, they get a gym membership, right? They set the goal to work out for an hour, at least 4 times a week, maybe even hire a coach. Google different diet plans to support them in their journey, right? And then stick to it for about a week or two until they feel like they're starved and annoyed and can't sit down on the toilet after leg day, much like my experience in the beginning. You know, you want to be able to do those stairs on a regular basis. This is something that I found within myself. And so when you find that you're starting to really feel like your muscles are exhausted and you're sore all the time and you're even more fatigued than when you started, quite often you end up reverting back to previous habits, which is the story that I get from a lot of people. I don't know if any of you have been there. Go ahead and pop it in the chat if you have experience with this. I certainly do, which is why I chose to go a different direction. Dr. Google is like my, oh, Nicole said, I kind of like that feeling. It feels like I did something. Yeah, some people call it the good burn, and that's okay. That's okay. You don't want it to stick around for days, though. So Dr. Google is one of my least favorite people things from working in the emergency department for so many years. Dr. Google has us so confused as to what is actually good for us, because Dr. Google doesn't pertain to us specifically. Dr. Google doesn't make us a plan that really pertains to us in our situation. Dr. Google throws out these flashy words that somebody came up with on a whim or that get searched a lot, right? And so if you were to, I literally did a Dr. Google search of how do I get healthy? And these are like the first few articles that came up. You got to do Tabatas, or you got to do cardio. No, you got to do HIIT. No, you got to circuit train. No, you got to cross train, right? And when it comes to eating, there's Noom, there's vegan, pegan, vegetarian, keto, flexitarian, right? What are all of these things? I have to even still look up what certain things are. And some of them say, oh yeah, no, you're not allowed to have caffeine at all. And then the other ones, like keto, it says, oh no, drink your coffee every morning. That's the only thing that you should have. Some say eat high starch, some say eat no starch, some say that calories in equal calories out, and some say no, there's more to it than that, right? And so what is it that we actually need to do to be healthy? It's actually very simple. As long as you keep Dr. Google out of the process, it can be very simple. How to actually improve how you feel. I tell my clients, it's like you're sitting on a 3-legged stool, okay? One of the legs is sleep. You add in good nutrition and you add in movement. If you're feeling like crap, it's one of those 3 legs on the stool that need to be addressed. And I always say start with sleep. Don't start by hitting the gym. You are going to deplete your system that's already depleted even further, right? So if you're already feeling depleted, if you're already feeling drugged down, if you're already feeling like you don't have the energy, don't push yourself harder by hitting the gym first. Let's start focusing on your sleep, then nutrition. And then when you tell me that you have so much energy and you can't stand it anymore, you got to go move around, that's when you incorporate the movement. That's when your body is going to have the resilience to accept it. Okay. So really it isn't as hard as most people, or as confusing as most people feel like it is. Okay, so here's some tips for better sleep. According to Stats Canada, 35% of the population age 15 or older have trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep. The funny thing about this is I feel like that number is way higher. It's just that most of the people who can't sleep were too tired to actually answer the question or the survey, right? So meditation is a fantastic thing that I suggest, and something that I'm working on improving myself right now. Supplementation, there are natural sleep aids that we can turn towards, or that you can turn towards, as opposed to getting a prescription, which the pharmaceuticals really aren't supposed to be used for any length of time either. Binary tones are really cool. You can pick on the Atmosphere app, you can pick like relaxed breathing or reduce stress and anxiety. Ginger tea before bed is an amazing fix, and that's the only thing that's worked for my mom to be able to sleep regularly through menopause. And go to bed earlier. Go to bed earlier. My great grandpa used to always tell me this: early to bed and early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. So here's another one that you can screenshot. to have the tips down, because sleep is actually your number one, not hitting the gym. Kyla noticed this. And so Kyla, I started working with her, and not very long after I started working with her privately, she gave me this message. She said, girl, I didn't just get out of bed this morning. I friggin' jumped out of bed this morning on my first alarm. What the I call that a win. And so I worked with Kyla for 1 month of private coaching, and I was able to help her drastically increase her energy, improve her quality of sleep and her son's quality of sleep, which was amazing. And she was down 6 pounds in the first week release, simply because she was giving her body that time to recover while she was sleeping, and giving her body the opportunity to get the deep sleep. Okay. So Kyla, her fiance, now husband, worked away a lot. She was getting up with the baby on her own. And she was finding that she wanted her alone time later on in the evening. And so she was going to bed later and later, and then getting up with her son. And so in the morning, when she had to usually get up early for work, she would hit the snooze and hit the snooze and hit the snooze. This is kind of a keystone in your day, though, because when you hit the snooze, well, then that she wasn't getting the opportunity to get her workout in, which she really enjoyed. She wasn't getting a good breakfast in. So she was going to work hungry. She wasn't packing her lunch. So she was grabbing things along the way that were highly processed. They're not as good for her. And so you can see how this is kind of like a domino effect, right? And so she was able to, with simply going to bed earlier and focusing on her sleep, get up on her first alarm, get her workout in, get her smoothie into her son, so that her son was getting all of these high end nutrients as well. Fix her lunch ahead of time. It just fixed the whole cycle, right? So the second thing, start gaining resilience by improving your sleep and fueling your body with high quality nutrients. Exercise actually comes back last, not first. All right. And the third thing, you will save time and money. All right. The hardest part of making supper is actually figuring out what to make for supper. Have you ever noticed that? Those of you who have a significant husband or a significant other in the house. Oh, they're not counting it all, moms. Yeah, I'm missing some of the comments as I go along, girls. I love seeing them in there, though. Keep going. Oh, your grandpa's saying, yeah. That's funny. Okay, so the hardest part of figuring out what to make for supper is actually, or of making supper, is to figuring out what to actually make. Okay, and so I know that I have had this conversation when I'm not doing my good planning. And so I asked my husband, like, what do you want for supper? Husband says, I don't know, whatever you want to make. I say, I'll make anything you want. Just tell me what you feel like. Husband says, I don't know, I'll eat anything. I don't have a frozen pizza in my freezer anymore, although this used to be the struggle. So it's like, well, fine then, I'll just check in the frozen pizza. Well, do we have anything else? And then you just want to hit him with something in the kitchen, right? It's like this never ending story. It's like, just tell me what to make, or else in our case, usually he'll say something and then I don't want it. So it's one of those things. Having a plan makes it so much easier, right? Wouldn't your life be easier if you had a shopping list already made for you? You knew what you were going to make for supper tonight, and you already had half of it prepped in the fridge, right? Or those of you who have hubbies that come home from work and see, if they see a plan on the table, it's a possibility they'll start making it as well, right? The food speaks for itself. I don't have to worry about it. Just take a look at the beautiful food, right? Your family is going to love this because it tastes delicious, and it's actually a lot simpler than it looks, right? My answer is, I just don't want to make food. Those prep meals help so much more. Absolutely, because when it's half done for you, it's like, okay, I can mix. I may not be able to make right now, although I can mix, right? So Kayla really appreciated the grocery list, right? She said it was the grocery list was really nice. She was able to get in and out of the grocery store in 15 minutes, and she's never been able to do her shopping that fast. And so when you have a list and you have a plan, generally with these shopping lists, you'll stay in one section of the grocery store. You know what you're going in for. You know that you're not forgetting anything. It doesn't give you the time to wander through the aisles, right? And maybe check out the things that aren't going to serve you as well. Those processed items all live in the middle of the grocery store. So if you're staying in the produce section and then just getting a little bit of meat, you don't even venture into that part of the store. It's not going to tempt you. It's not going to take you that much extra time. You're not going to be buying that many extra items. You don't have to fight with the kids about which cereal they want to bring home that's full of sugar and crap for them, right? You can tell that I've been there. And plus now, the way the grocery stores are, I don't even like spending a lot of time in the grocery store anymore. It's so much better to get in and out, right? And that was Kayla's experience. When you have a list and it's prepared for you, you have that plan. You grab your items and you go, right? Or even online shopping is amazing when you have this list available to you, okay? So Linda says, I worked with Linda for a few months. Both her and her husband were meeting some very difficult health challenges. Um, she was having issues with her cholesterol. She was having issues with her blood glucose. And I talked to her very recently, and her doctor is befuddled. He has no idea what happened, but he is not able to put her on medication. She doesn't require it any longer because she was able to change the way that she was eating and improve both of their health. Okay. So she said, when I used to go to the grocery store, I felt like a recovering alcoholic who lived in a bar. She didn't know what to buy. And she said everything felt tempting. She said, but now I realize it's in me to fix this. I know what to buy now. I know what I'm looking for when I go to the grocery store. She said, when I have you, I don't feel like I'm on a diet and I'm seeing results. All right. So 3 months of private coaching, stabilized the blood glucose levels, reduce stress, and improved her mental health in a time when most people's mental health was very much declining. She noticed decreased shortness of breath this spring and decreased asthma symptoms as the snow was fading, which is very new for her and exciting. She went from sleeping 5 hours a night average to 7 hours a night. And between her and her husband, they're actually down really 70 pounds, not just the 60 anymore, because they're still working with it. And their doctor is, like I said, incredibly impressed and totally befuddled. Jocelyn had a similar experience. She said, she said that it was very nice to be able to adapt to allergies or certain foods that they don't love. But she said it was also really interesting to try new recipes and new items in the grocery store that she normally wouldn't grab. And she said that she made them and her family actually really enjoyed them. And so it was able to open up her experience with food. I like that she puts at the end, Maddie knows her shit. And if you follow what she tells you, you will lose weight and feel amazing. So this is awesome. And not that weight loss is the focus. It's all about serving your body. Although I am finding with my clients that weight does start to respond as your body starts feeling more fueled, and as you start gaining more energy and sleeping better, your body just gets that recovery in. It doesn't need the excess weight anymore that's not serving you. So the third thing is having a plan actually saves you time and money when implemented correctly. And you can reinvest that to say, what you save in your own self-care, right? The system, it pays for itself in a way. So how would your life change if you're finally able to ditch the diets and instead incorporate a set of sustainable, healthy habits that get you feeling like yourself again? Honestly, just to feel like yourself again. This was something that when I started feeling like myself again and I started feeling like me and my body again, that's something that I would not trade for the world now. I know that this is what life is really supposed to feel like. So the truth is, the fastest way to create health in your family while not spending an excessive amount of time and money is to follow a simple whole food plan that focuses on quality ingredients. That's all there is to it. Sleep, nutrition, and then bringing in activities. So now you have a choice. You can continue to waste time trying things at random, Dr. Googling, right? Looking at another fad diet full of restraints and constrictions, spend a fortune with minimal results and no guarantees, go back to resorting to the frozen pizza for supper, which is really not very good at all, and get discouraged and lose your motivation. Ultimately, that's what happens when we embark on a path without that clarity. Oftentimes we get discouraged and then we end up going one step forward and two steps back, right? Are you willing to waste the time though? And see, this is what each time I talk about this and each time I listen to a client experience, I think back to my own experience and I think back to what would I have had, like, what would I give up in my life now had I not made this decision for myself? If I look back and I made a different decision, what would I have to give back? So in my own life, I don't know that if me and my husband would have made it, I don't know if we would still be together or not. And if that had happened, I don't know if I would have had Axton. I don't know if I would have had my second baby, my second kid. I know for a fact that I would have had to trade on umpteen adventures that we have been on as a family since then. We have traveled. We have traveled all over the world and all over Alberta and all over Canada now because I wasn't willing to stay on the sidelines, right? So what would I have to give back? I would have had to give back my whole life. I would not be where I am today if I had not made that decision to move forward in the way that I did. So are you willing to waste the time? And when is a good time? Right? When is a good time to feel like yourself again? I say now. Now is a good time. All right. So the most efficient way is we go through each step together and use the exact system that has been proven to work for my clients over and over again. You get the step-by-step instruction from me, a professional coach with a decade of experience in healthcare and alternative. I'll show you how to make whole food nutrition that your family will love. So you can stop trying every diet that goes by and actually start enjoying your life again. Okay. I'm here for you. This is what I do. All right. So this is the Feeling Fan-Freaking-Tas-Tic program. You can create healthy habits that fit into your lifestyle and actually last. All right. Presented by Pura Vida Nutrition. So you can discover how to create simple whole food meals for your family, have confidence in your food choices, and understand how they contribute to your overall health, and enjoy better sleep, higher energy, so that you can stop feeling exhausted all of the time. You can start actively taking part in your life instead of watching it from the sidelines. Who is this for? Who does this work for? Well, it works for moms and families. It works really well for entrepreneurs. Um, Essentially anybody who's busy, anybody who is a caregiver. If you're a full-time working household, this will work very well for you because it has a step-by-step plan. If you're feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or burnt out, confused about nutrition and supplementation, that's a lot of people. They're like, I want to buy the supplement, although I feel like I'll just pee it out, right? What's the value in this? I can help you in directing what it is that your body actually needs, okay? Previous diagnosis or currently having symptoms of disease, I can work with you and your healthcare team. That's not a problem. It's food. Come right down to it, it's literally food, okay? And if you're ready to gain energy and release weight naturally, anything that's not serving you, this is the program that is going to be working for you, okay? So what are you going to get in this program? Seasonal 6-week meal plan. So obviously we're going into fall, which is not my favorite time of year, although it does offer some really fantastic options to cook with. So it's whole food, easy prep, family approved, dairy-free, gluten-free, modifiable, of course. This is a $175 value on its own. I am going to work it into the plan. All right. And you get the whole food meal plan with lifetime access. So this is going to be online, so you can refer back to it and use it again. I know a lot of people what, as a photographer? That's blasphemy. That's so cute. That I don't like fall. I'm sorry. It is beautiful. I know I have issues. Anyways, the 6-week whole food meal plan with lifetime access, so that you can create these delicious, healthy meals for your family. I'm there with you every step of the way, and I can teach you how. What else do you get? Well, you get a 2-week cleansing plan as well. This is what really kickstarts weight release. It's what really gives your body all of that concentrated nutrition so that your body starts filling up again and gaining back its resilience, right? It's very nutrient dense. It's a kickstart program, promotes safe weight release with no detox products, right? Those detox products that often are worse for us in the long run, right? This is a $150 value. And it's put in place so that you can finally really start to get those quicker results that you're looking for, right? You can have a one-on-one free coaching call with me. It's worked into the program, of course. Although this is where we can identify your individual needs, where you're sitting at right now, find out where your story starts, and then make a plan to follow through, right? This is where we can start to talk about and individualize some of that supplementation that you're taking, right? And you can take advantage of this so that your plan is more individualized to you, right? That's a $250 value. 6 weeks group coaching. So spend an hour live with me. I'm excited to spend an hour live with you every week. This is via Zoom, and obviously it's going to be recorded if you can't make it live. However, I would love to spend an hour supporting you in your journey and providing that accountability, right? And we can talk about all sorts of different topics. So grocery shopping, label reading, basic meal prep. I got the food in my kitchen. What do I do next, right? Any red flag ingredients and how you can spot them on the labels. Macros and micros, those are really big right now. So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the phytonutrients. I'll talk about inflammation and how you can start to recognize what these things are doing in your body. Common supplements, and of course, stress and mindset, right? This is huge right now, $582 value. This is what builds your confidence, though. This is what keeps you in the program. It's so that you can implement what you are, or actually implement the plan, and then have an opportunity to ask questions and be accountable to completing what you started, right? That's where the value really comes in. And then of course, lifetime access to online materials. So all of the recordings, everything, resources will be uploaded online. You can continue to access this after you've gone through it. You feel like you want to reset, you pop back into the program or give me a shout, right? Meal plans, Zoom recordings, private Facebook group as well, so that you really get supported through that. That's a $497 value as well, right? Okay, so that all adds up to $1,654 for the total value of what you gained through this program. And honestly, so if feeling Fan-Freaking-Tas-Tic did everything I promised, how amazing would your life feel in just 6 weeks? I want you to think about it. I really want you to go ahead and put pen to paper. How would you feel in 6 weeks if you started today, if you started right away, right? What if you kept going with your healthier habits? How would you feel by this time next year, right? If you stuck to it and keep going. Final question: if you no longer felt overwhelmed and exhausted, finally feel energized throughout the day, and no longer have to miss out on all of the fun opportunities of life, would it be worth it to you to pay $1,654? When I think back on where I started, I would have given somebody the world if they had come to me and said, you know what, I can help you fix this. I can support you through this, right? I would have given anything if I knew that those results were there. So you can see why it actually, it's a really good deal. It's $1,600, right? You won't have to pay that price. So feeling Fan-Freaking-Tas-Tic, creating healthy habits that fit into your lifestyle. The launch price that I am going to, that I intend to launch this program at fully is $999. And I have every intention of doing that. But right now I'm looking for success stories. I want to collect your success stories. And I want more people to understand the value within this program and how I can help them. And your success story helps me do that. Okay. And so right now I'm sponsoring this plan for $500, which puts it at $499. All I ask is that when you're done, you give me a testimonial to tell people how amazing this worked for you. So do we have a deal? Go ahead, type it in the chat. This is a very good deal. I enjoy sponsoring my programs for clients in this way because it makes it really accessible, and it really provides for a good working relationship. So right now you can start for $499. All right. So that's an incredible value. This experience is online. Deal. I love it. This experience is online. And so right now you can purchase This particular experience is going to start October 22nd. That's when the call is going to start. That's when you're going to have access to your first meal plan. And that's when I start setting you up for success. So this is something that you will need to jump on in order to get into this group. Okay. So $4.99 right now. Frequently asked questions. What if I can't make the online training? What if I can't make it live? That's okay. I'm going to record it. All right. I will upload it into your portal, and then you can go in and you can watch it at your convenience. If there's something on the online training that you want to see again, that you want to take notes on, that you want to show somebody else in your household, you go back to that recording. You will absolutely have access to all of the materials, I promise you. All right. What if my family has allergies to certain ingredients? Once again, when you are cooking in this style, you can adjust the ingredients. And so obviously I will be giving you the recipes, although they are all adjustable, right? They're all adjustable. And so allergies to nuts or allergies to dairy, there's not going to be a whole lot of dairy in this plan anyways. Gluten is something that I stay away from anyways, for the most part, in these plans. And so everything is justifiable because you are in control of the ingredients. You're going to find it a lot easier in your household because you don't have those things to worry about, okay? What if I'm really terrible at cooking? That's okay. I'm really good at it and I can help you. All right. This is what I love. I love showing people how to make something beautiful. And then they look at it after and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I did that. This is my passion. Okay. I will help you. I promise you, you can make all of the recipes, and I'm there for support. Okay. I will help you. All right, so you can start right now for just $4.99, and that's at puravitainspires.com. Go to Pura Vida Experience, and that will direct you in how to purchase this plan that's kicking off October 22nd. Once again, I said I will post in the chat what the link is there once I'm done my screen share, okay? Now I get to change your life. So remember that at the beginning when I said, what are you tolerating right now? And you wrote down all of the things that you are tolerating. Go ahead and find that piece of paper or the envelope. It's always the envelope that I end up putting chicken scratch like that on, right? When I got to grab something quick. So go ahead and grab that piece of paper. Or even if you wanted to share something in the chat, you're welcome to do that. I know that that's a vulnerable step. Have it clear in your mind. What are you tolerating right now? Now behind it, write, this is it and I'm satisfied. And pay attention to how you feel. I am exhausted. This is it and I am satisfied. I am overwhelmed. This is it and I am satisfied. I have brain fog. This is it and I am satisfied. I am not healthy with my body. This is it and I am satisfied. Mental exhaustion. This is it and I am satisfied. And pay attention to how that makes you feel. When I did this exercise, I looked at that piece of paper and I was like, I am not satisfied. I am not satisfied with this. This is a lie. I am tolerating it. I am not satisfied with it. How do I change it? How do I fix this? How do I make it better? Right? No, patience. This is it and I'm satisfied. Yes. And patience, honestly, that is a surefire sign of some of that fatigue that's coming through. And I find that when I'm letting myself get a little bit more depleted, that's one of the things I notice is no patience with my kids, right? And I know I need to shift into that self-care again so that I can recover my resilience, right? This is it and I'm satisfied. I want you to be able to write down, I'm not tolerating anything. I'm totally satisfied. That is my goal for you. All right. So my name is Maddie Jeffley with Pura Vida Nutrition. This is how you contact me if you have any questions for me one-on-one. Yes, I'm done with feeling empty. Yes, I have been there. I am here to serve you, my dear. All right. I am going to stop the screen share. I am going to share that link for you. There we go. All right. I am going to pull up the link and share that for you. If you, this has been recorded as well. If you feel like, oh my God, I have a friend that needed to see this. Why weren't they watching it? I will be happy to share this recording. so that I can serve as many people as possible in this group. This is the most efficient way for me to help others, help other moms, help other entrepreneurs. This is the best way for me to do it. So please reach out and let me know if you feel like this, if this really hit you and touched you, if you feel like you know somebody that this is, that I totally spoke to. Go ahead and reach out and let me know. Please let me know. I am here to serve you in that. All right. I was just going to ask that. Absolutely. Yes, this is available to everyone. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys all hopped on. I appreciate your time. And please let me know if you have any questions. Go ahead and pop them in the chat right now, or please contact me. I had my information up there as well. So please contact me with any questions. There we go. All right. I am going to close this off. I don't see any questions hopping in, so I'm going to go ahead and close this off. Once again, thank you for joining me. This was fun.